Yo, you already know who the fuck it is. I'm on asharenu. We back in this bitch. And I know every video I'll be like, let me not take too much time. But this video, I'm going to try to not to take too much time. What's up, 305 Capricorn? What's good? What's good? So I'm not even going to wait for people to get in the room. You know what I mean? Y'all just watch this shit whenever y'all get to it. I'm just doing it live, It just is easy to just hit the live button. So I just want to get this quick message out real quick. Anyway, the magic of direct experience. The reason I find this important is as we become adults, and money becomes a bigger and bigger factor in life, you got to pay bills. You may have kids, you want nice things, material things, just to be involved in the human experience. And we all know, well, we probably all don't know. Well, those of us who do know, you know how it is to not have money in your pocket, being an adult, or maybe you don't. Nonetheless, we understand that it's necessary to engage in financial pursuits in one way or another, whether you're starting a business, you working a job, entrepreneur, freelance and doing whatever you're doing, right? However, what I want to emphasize here is imagination and memory are the keys to direct experience. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is life has shown me, not me coming to this conclusion on my own, an outward and inward experience that we come to call synchronicity. Life has shown me that direct experience is more powerful than any monetary pursuits. Let me give you an example. And again, I tell these stories all throughout, the videos over and over again. However, I will reiterate it here. I was blessed, or you can say it was a gift from the spirit for me to be spiritually minded. As a teenager, I didn't care about any of this stuff. Didn't know any of this stuff existed. I was a teenager like everybody else, doing what teenagers do. However, one day I was revealed some information and it spoke to my soul, not my spirit, but it spoke to my soul. It moved me on a soul level. It made me want to start meditating. It made me want to start to exercise my imagination versus chasing money. Spirit, life showed me by direct experience that I went places that I never would have gone chasing after money. Let me give you an example. Most of the time we try to figure out where the money is going to come from, right? And again, there's a bunch of these videos, law of attraction, right? Nothing new, or it shouldn't be new to you, right? But as an adult, you just are trained to think this way, even if you don't want to. It's like you have to think about okay, where's the money coming from? You kind of have to think about that, whether you like it or not. Nonetheless, because we are trained to think this way, we tend to get further away from imagination and memory, which are the most powerful tools that you have. If you lose your memory, you have no sense of self. If you have no imagination, you can't see into the future. So no memory and no imagination, and all you're doing is pursuing monetary gains. We know that's what everybody is doing, but nobody is really special. That doesn't make anybody special. What makes a person special is imagination and memory, because you have your life memory, but then you have your soul memory, your soul's age, the age of your soul. And your memory and your imagination go hand in hand. What do I mean? If I tell you to imagine something that you've never seen before, could you do it? No, you can't. So imagination is dictated upon your memory. If you can't see something that you've never seen, if I say imagine something that you've never seen before, you couldn't imagine it because you don't know how it looks. So our whole life is built off of memory. Memory, 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 memory. If you don't have a memory of a thing, just like if you don't have a word for a thing, it doesn't register in your mind. If you can't define something in reality, it doesn't even register in your brain because you have no idea what it is. So memory and imagination go hand in hand. And we lose more of our memory and imagination as we go further in life. But that's kind of the point, because we know what type of society we live in. So whenever you come with alternative thinking and alternative ways of navigating life, this challenges you to have to reconsider some things. So again, I always say the same example, but it's a profound example. And what I mean by that is, back when I was in Detroit, which is in the Midwest, I had thoughts and dreams of going to the West Coast, LA. However, financially, that just was not possible. Financially, it just was not possible. I had no clue of how to do it. I just had the desire to travel to the West. How I was going to accomplish that, I could not. My mind I just could not think like how to. I don't know how, but I had the desire. That's all I had was the desire. So what I did, again, the spirit gave me the gift, like, yo, meditate, utilize your imagination, go further into your internal chambers and get that shit organized and see how far that gets you. This is what the spirit told me. And that's what I did. So every morning, 4 a.m., I get up and I meditate for an hour. And during that hour of meditation, I would create images in my head, create scenarios in my head. I would build entire homes in my head that I still remember to this day because I put so much intricate detail that I can just instantly think about things that I built in my mind during that time, 10 years ago. So we're talking about 10 years ago, 2009. This is so now I still have these vivid images that I created in my mind that's still there because I put so much energy into it. So the energy that I was putting in was, what am I going to do in LA? How would the experience be? You know what I mean? Just thinking about the West Coast overall. And as I said, one day I got a phone call, we got a ticket for you. How did you get the ticket? Went to the bank, deposited the money. They didn't even take the money. The bank teller didn't take the fucking money. They just typed it in the computer, like on some G shit. Like a spirit, like it was a spirit. Like, yo, don't even worry about the money. And we know that shit never happens. They'll lose their job over that shit. So ain't nobody about to risk their job for a stranger that they don't know typing in some shit that's fraudulent. So we understand that spirit moves in ways that even we may not be able to comprehend. Nonetheless, as I said, I want to keep this short. I bring this up to say I would never have been in LA, would have never have went to the West Coast, would have never went to the East Coast, would have never did anything that y'all have seen me manifest on this channel. None of that would have never happened had I not utilized my imagination and my memory. It had nothing to do with how much money was in the pocket or where the money is coming from, because a lot of times I did not know where that was coming from. All I had was my imagination and my memory. And the spirit told me, perfect your imagination and perfect your memory. That will get your internal chambers in order, will get your internal chambers organized so that you can tap into deeper aspects of who and what you already are. You're not becoming, you already are. You're just becoming into the awareness of what you have already been the entire time. It's your awareness or your consciousness that evolves. But you was already a divine being, before you even touched down on the planet. Nonetheless, again, I place special emphasis on this. Why? Because to me, there's no other way to live. Because every day we lose our imagination and our memories because we are not accessing them. There are things that happened to me 10 years ago that I'm still learning from. Meaning, like I've been homeless so many times and it's been Every time it's just so much that happens on a daily basis. I can still reflect on things and still like, yo, I didn't even put that together. Like I'm still learning from experiences I've already been through because it was so much going on a daily basis that as you are going through these things that they don't register fully to you because you're going through it. But once you have gathered some space, once some time has passed, you start to reflect a lot more on, you know, how you got to the place you got in life. So that's what I've been thinking about lately. I'm like, you know, I've been at this shit for 10 years. And I'm just reflecting, I'm like, what are the greatest experiences that I've had over this decade of being spiritually minded, evolving in my consciousness? And the conclusion I came up with is every time I activate my imagination and my memory, things happen. And every time I was so concerned about where my next dollar is coming from, where the next, you know, meal is coming from, whenever I would think strictly physical, I will receive those things as well. But I understood that that's just an introduction. If you can keep food and money in your pocket, you can do grand things. These are just basic necessities. But you know, when you're going through it, you know, when you haven't had something to eat for a couple of days, you're not really thinking that far. You're like, yo, I kind of need something to eat. So you're not really thinking that far. But again, once you have passed through those stages and now you reflect on what you have been through, now you realize like, yo, I realized that, okay, because of that situation, my mind was not going as far as it could have went because I'm just dealing with the physical nature of reality. So in these 10 years, as I reflect, the most profound experiences that I have been direct experience. In other words, things that I've already placed in my mind and they happened after. Not when I got the check and now I'm balling. Like, okay, the check come, now I'm getting, nah. The check, I didn't know where the check was coming from. Didn't even know a check would come. I just activated this. And then shit started to move in ways where it's just, you cannot explain these things. The spirit moves in mysterious ways, as we all know. Just like I said, and this is, I want to place emphasis on this. It's not even about being a noble person. And that's what I tested as well. I was fearless. I'm like, okay, let me do something not so noble and see if that still happens. As I always tell people, you know, people feel bad. I'm not gonna ask the universe for some pussy. I may ask for some money. I may ask for support, but I'm not just gonna ask to get a quick nut off. That seems kind of diminishing of myself. But I let all that slide. I'm like, let me get out of my fucking ego and stop trying to be this. Like I'm, you know, we are both devil, God, negative, positive, whatever. So let me go into my lower nature and see if that works and see if it's power in that as well. Because we can do all these noble, okay, I want the information, I want this, I want this, I want that. You know, all these spiritual things. But what about the material things, right? So when I did that, I'm like, okay, let me think a little bit lower. And when that manifested, then I came to the conclusion, as we should know by now, spirit is neither positive or negative. It does not give a fuck what the request is. Its only job is to fulfill it. Does not matter what you request. It just must be fulfilled. The spirit is not looking at you like we look at each other. We judge each other. The spirit don't give a fuck about why you ask for what you ask for. And what I mean by ask, place vivid imagery in your head. Not prayer. Vivid imagery in your head, and you start to animate these images that you are creating in your own mind based off of your memory. You are constructing images in your mind and you are animating these images in your mind. And as you are animating imagery in your mind, you add the emotional energy to those images, which gives them life. and they take a form of their own, then things start to change in ways that you could never even imagine. However, back when I was working a job, getting a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, it was just all about getting that check. You know what I mean? You couldn't wait for payday. When payday hit, you know, you got your money, now you on. Or I got the payday, let me do this, you know, you on now. It's like life starts when you get the paycheck. Or at least from my perspective, life started when the paycheck was in the bank account. And now I can move like I want to move. But when I put my mind first, okay, let's not do that. When I put my mind first, my imagination first, my memory first, things happen that money could not do. And this is not to say that money isn't important, but that's not the first or the last thing. Money is the medium to express our creativity. Money is the medium. Money is not the goal. The money is just the medium for you to do whatever it is that you desire, not the goal. But we live in a world where everybody desires money, right? Nothing wrong with that. But it's not enough of us animating that imagination properly, or we will be in a different type of world. This world is built off of arrogance and ignorance. These are the people that we see every day. These are the people that we see every day. What do I mean? It's not that people are ignorant, because if you are ignorant, you can learn. Therefore, you will not be ignorant anymore. But we know people are ignorant because they are arrogant, because they choose not to listen, and they don't want to change. They choose to remain ignorant because they are arrogant. Arrogance keeps you in ignorance because you just feel like you're too good to learn from another being who may be younger than you, smarter than you. You just don't want to accept that somebody knows more or does more, whatever the case is. You just don't allow yourself, and not you, but people, the 85% of the planet, will not submit themselves to mathematics. That's what being a Muslim is. Because some people, the religious, I'm not talking about the religion of Islam in the Middle East. I'm talking about the real shit, the lifestyle. Because a religious Muslim would say a Muslim means submission to Allah. But we know, the real Muslims know, Islam is mathematics. A Muslim means to submit to mathematics. Mathematics. Saturn. Satan. Anyway, your submission to mathematics gives you the ability to do grand things. To be a mathematician and to understand mathematics is the greatest thing, or the greatest gift you can give to yourself. Because through the understanding of mathematics, because remember, we are in the matrix, and the matrix is built off mathematics. So if you want to understand the symbolism in the matrix, you have to study mathematics, because that is what the matrix is built off of. So if you don't understand mathematics, how can you understand anything? But again, because people will not submit themselves to mathematics because they feel like they already know enough, there's no movement. They just chasing the bag. Which is mathematics. They chasing the money. So there's a reason, because it's symbolism all over the money. But it does not supposed to make you a slave to the where your mind is, that's all you think about is getting the bag, while your memory and your imagination slowly fades away from you because you are not cultivating your mind. If you are not cultivating your mind, you will not have one. And that's real shit. That's why people lose their minds. Your mind is not there and it's just going to be there. You have to cultivate your mind like you cultivate a plant. You have to constantly feed your mind and experiment with your mind. or it will disappear. As they say, use it or you lose it, and that includes your mind. So chasing the bag. It's necessary, but that is not going to place you on a path of, let's say, submission to mathematics. So you can either submit to mathematics by chasing the bag, or you can submit to mathematics by cultivating your imagination and your memory and having direct experience. Now, what exactly do I mean by direct experience? If you didn't get it, creating the scenario in your mind before it happens. And that's what makes it happen. It has to go through your internal chambers. Not you get the bag first and now everything is a go. No, if you have not took it through your internal chambers, from the crown to the root, it's not going to be what you expect it to be. That's why everybody's out here, the 85%, not everybody, the 85% is all around this motherfucker like a chicken with his head cut off. Because they're not satisfied. You can get a check and still want more money. You can never, as they say, you can never have enough money, which is not true. You can make enough money and be satisfied and just have that shit on passive, get some passive income. You can make $1 million and set up passive income to the point where you don't really care about money anymore. It's just not a factor in your life. You can set your life up that way to the point where money, you continue to bring in income, but it's not something that you think about because it's already there. And you have structured your life around not just blowing through your money. Most motherfuckers, if they get $1 million, they will blow through it, trying to do any and everything that comes to their mind instead of trying to build wealth. Most people, if you put $1 million right in front of them, they will not build wealth. They will waste that money trying to live a lifestyle that was never meant for them to live. And we know that to be a fact. However, when you submit yourself to mathematics and you learn how that money works and you work that money, it doesn't phase you. You can have $1 million on the table and it just does not phase you. You get what I'm saying? However, the process starts within, not when you get the bag. And again, that's why most people are out here that all they care about is chasing the bag, because they are never satisfied, because their internal chambers are not being cultivated. Buying a pair of fucking Jordans, it's not gonna make you feel better. Or having the Gucci, all this name brand shit is not gonna make you feel any better. It has a expiration date. Eventually those shoes get old. Those clothes get old. I don't give a fuck how much you pay for that shirt, it's gonna get old. I don't give a fuck how much you pay for those shoes. They gonna get, creases. They have a time span. We will outlive all that. You're gonna outlive those pair of Jordans, that $1,500 shirt. You're gonna outlive those things. But what did you do with the time? Because if your whole life was dedicated to chasing a bag and looking nice and smelling good and doing all these things, which is nothing wrong with that, but that's not the fucking goal. That is the medium. Is people making the medium the goal. Money is a medium, not the goal. And just that simple shift of thinking changes your life. It changes your life. And we can clearly see that. Just look out into the world. Look at the people who's chasing the money, and look at the people who uses money as a medium and don't place any special emphasis on the material dollars. It is a medium, just like anything else is. Versus a motherfucker who worships the money, those blue bills. It's like that the money becomes their god. Versus it was only the messenger. When you make money your messenger versus the goal, then you can truly understand, like, okay, if it's the medium, then there is something that I need to do before and after that. I need to go through my internal chambers, then I need to live out that reality. Go through your internal chambers and live it out. And money is just the medium, the middle point between that whole process, not the goal. So I want to read something to you guys before we check out. I'm going to read you a lesson from the 120. The 120 lessons from the 5%, the nation of gods and earths, right? I want to read something. I'm going to give y'all the real definition of what an 85%er is, just in case I'm using these terms. Because I know, you know, everybody in here isn't 5%ers. Everybody in here has not gone through that world. So let me clarify what I'm saying. So I'm going to grab my notes and I'm going to read it word from word, directly from the mouth of Elijah Muhammad. The questions were asked by Master Farad Muhammad. If you are not familiar with these names, of course, feel free to do your research. So let me grab this. I'll be right back. So, these motherfuckers old as hell. Look at this. See that? In the name of Allah, 120 lessons. The 5% nation of the gods and earths. Of course, I have this because this is a part of my history. This is 120 lessons. So let me show y'all. All right. You have to know this by heart. All this. So let me just give y'all an example of how this is why. This is how you can cultivate your imagination and your memory. So just imagine, you see how this is not really thick, maybe about 20 pages. But in order to be a part of the nation, you had to learn all of this by heart. So let me just flick through this real quick. You had to know all this, right? What is that? Supreme mathematics. I talk about supreme mathematics all the time, right? Supreme alphabets. I talk about that kind of infrequently because that's a little bit more advanced. But this is where it comes from. So let me just quickly let y'all see this. All right. These are questions and answers. So let me just flick through this. We're gonna get to the lesson. But I'm just like, so some of these lessons you can answer in one sentence. But you see, some of these lessons are fucking paragraphs long. I don't think y'all really understand this shit. Look at this. You see how long that answer is? It's reversed here. Don't worry about it. I know it's reversed. I'm just giving y'all insight into how much you had to memorize. You had to know all of this by heart and quote it on demand. You don't worry about what it says, because that's not the important part. I'm gonna read to you what it says. See how long? Just give you a perspective. See how long some of these answers are? You had to learn this by heart. Oh, we ain't done. Oh, we got more. We got more. See how long that answer is? Like, you had to know this by heart. I'm not done. Oh, wow. Look at that. Word from word. Word from word. And again, I think y'all get the point. This is 120 lessons that you had to memorize by heart. It keeps going. It keeps going. I'll stop right there. It keeps going though. It's deeper than that. But again, I'm gonna read y'all a specific lesson. But just giving y'all a perspective. This is why that was important. And again, this is just an example. I'm pretty sure every tradition you had to memorize something, but this is why you memorize, to expand your memory and make your imagination more vivid. But anyway, so here we go. So here's the question. Who is the 85%? I'll read it to you again. I know it's reversed. The answer goes as follows. The uncivilized people. Poisoned animal eaters, slaves of a mental death and power, people who do not know the true and living God or their origins in this world, and worship what they know not. Those who are easily led in the wrong direction and hard to lead in the right direction. So a lot was said there. I don't want to, we don't got to go too deep into it, but let me just slowly go through it. Who is the 85%? The uncivilized people. You can say the motherfucking savages, right? Just, and we all know what a savage is. Poisoned animal eaters. You can say pork. People who ingest pork. Because pork poisons you. So I stopped eating that shit at like 15 when I converted to traditional Islam. So I done been through the Nation of Islam and the religion of Islam. I've been through both of the schools. But I'm still talking about this shit and not the religious shit. Anyway, slaves of a mental death and power. Mental death and power. Slaves of a mental death and power. Not physical. Because physically, you're poisoning yourself with the pork and other poisonous animals. But it says slaves of a mental death and power. You have no mental capacity, therefore you have no power. If you don't have a deep enough mental capacity, if you can't think in depth, which you can't do when you are ingesting poison, it limits your range of thinking. You have no power. No mental ability, no power. Simple. People who do not know the true and living God. We ain't talking about a mystery God in the clouds, or white Jesus, or a fucking unknown God called Allah. We ain't talking about what these religious folks talking about. The true and living God. True and living amongst us. And this was written back in 1934. This is 1934. So just imagine, we think people are ignorant now. Just imagine how ignorant motherfuckers was in 1934. And Elijah Muhammad came with this in 1934. Just to put it into perspective. What is that, 80 years ago? Maybe even longer than that. Let's continue. People who do not know the true and living God or their origins in this world. Most of us don't know where the fuck we come from. That's actual fact. And just like most of us do not acknowledge a true and living God. We say all this sky shit all day, but they don't know the true and living God, and they don't know where the fuck they come from. Does this not accurately describe what we're dealing with? Let's continue. Those people who do not know the true and living God or their origin in this world and worship what they know not what? Worship a mystery God. So they worship in something that doesn't even fucking exist. Right? Is that not what we're dealing with right now? This is 80 years ago. Almost 90 years ago. We're still dealing with people who think like this. Why? Because, again, you have to go through the whole lessons to truly grasp it. This is just one. Just giving y'all the source and just a perspective. Anyway, those who are easily led in the wrong direction, but hard to lead in the right direction. And that's pretty much what I've been talking about, all day, about just how we view money and how we're more concerned with the physical plane than the mental and the power plane. Motherfuckers are so busy trying to obtain physical power or physical wealth and not cultivating their minds. And that's essentially what that last part means. So, I just wanted to give y'all a source, just in case, y'all want a reference. Again, this was written in 1934. So at the end of the day, now that you know what you're up against, arrogance and ignorance, now you know what not to do and what to do. You know what to do and what not to do. Because when you know your enemy, you know yourself. And when you know yourself, you will know your enemy. You will know who's for you and who's against you. When you know your origins in the world, you know that you are the true and living God. There is no fucking mystery, nothing. There is no universe. Oh, the universe. Fuck the universe. It's about you, motherfucker. The universe ain't doing nothing for you. The universe responds to your mental capacity. Is this not the fucking truth? But somehow We still got people walking around this motherfucker claiming to be spiritual, talking about what the universe is doing. The universe is doing this. What are you talking about? Are you not the manifestation of the universe in the human body? Are you not the microcosm of the macrocosm? As above, so below, right? The grander universe, and you are the miniature version of something grand. But that does not mean that it has some type of power over you. Slaves of a mental death and power. No mental power. No mental capacity equals no power. You can't have power without being able to think in death. Be able to start at the crown and end up at the root. Go through all 7 chambers. The universe is within us. We are the universe. It's not about it's within us. We are that. So the universe is in us, is us. We are all, there is no separation, period. You don't even have to use the word the universe. You're just talking about yourself. You're just talking about yourself. The universe. But when people say the universe, they're talking about it like God. They just went from God or Jesus or Allah to the universe. They still have that worshiping mentality when they talk about the universe. Oh, the universe is going to do something for me. You've taken that same religious mentality and bringing it over here and wondering why this shit doesn't make sense. Right? No, they say it's just words. No, it's not just words, because words are power. So if you don't realize the power in your words, you will manifest destruction. That's what I'm talking about, and that's why I place the emphasis on that. So if you're going around just saying the universe, and you're giving all your power to the universe, words manifest. So that becomes your reality. You are subjecting yourself to a power that is greater than you, but that's in your own mind. So at the end of the day, anybody can refute this shit all they want, but this is solidified in stone. Again, this is 80 years old, talking about what's still going on right now. And until somebody else can produce a greater works, stick to the source. Unless somebody produces, until somebody produces something greater than what Elijah Muhammad put down, then we have to follow suit. That's all I'm saying. Until somebody comes with something greater, stick to the source. Because that's where he pulled. He pulled from the source. Right? Exactly. When you switch up the words you use, you change your whole reality. When you place yourself in proper perspective, your whole reality changes. But, let me give y'all one more definition. You know what I mean? Because some motherfuckers are stupid as fuck on purpose. And that's why I don't have no mercy on a dumb purposefully dumb motherfucker. I don't mind just punching you in your chest until you cave in, because I have no mercy when you choose to be ignorant. I have no tolerance for that. So, let me read you the definition of who are the 5% then. You got the 85%, you got the 10%, you got the 5%. Let me just read you the 10% as well, just in case anybody's confused. All right, you got 85, you got 15% left. Let's read. Who is the 10%? The rich slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies to believe that the almighty true and living God is a spook and cannot be seen by the physical eye, otherwise known as blood suckers of the poor. Is that not what's going on today? The 10% are the blood suckers of the poor, taking all the resources of the earth and containing it, and leaving everybody else to fucking fend for themselves and kill each other. That's the situation. But who are the 5%? Because we already know about, what we call the Illuminati and all these, mystery names. Who are the 5% though? Because you got 5% left. So these last 5%, what's the definition of the 5%? Let's read. They are the poor righteous teachers who do not believe in the teachings of the 10%, for they are all wise and know who the true and living God is, and teach that the true and living God is the Son of Man, the supreme being, black man from Asia and teach freedom, justice, and equality to the human families of the planet Earth, otherwise known as civilized people, Muslims and Muslim sons. And that's why I use the word Muslim, not in a religious perspective, but what it actually means. One who submits to mathematics, one who submits to Islam. Islam is mathematics. Submit yourself to mathematics, and mathematics will teach you how to build from nothing. So that's directly from Elijah Muhammad, and the questions asked from Master Farad Muhammad. So just giving y'all a source. And again, you know, here's another book, The Supreme Wisdom. There's more joints. Y'all be wondering where all this information is coming from. I don't really get too deep into this, really. But I'm just letting y'all know I got so much. It's so much here. But you know, we ain't got to get into it. Y'all know what the deal is. So that's all I wanted to say. Cause you know, I'm just here to correct the errors. I'm not here to continue to allow people to go off into the world and be slayed by the 10%. I encourage everybody to not only know their origins in the world, know who the fuck you are. Stop giving your power to some mystery, some spirit, right? Everything serves you, not the other way around. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, we back. But again, I said everything I need to say. But I'm just giving y'all the source. So you ain't gotta take my word for it, because I know I say a lot of mysterious things. But you ain't gotta take my word for it. Just go to the source and study the source. And once you study the source, then you will truly understand everything I speak about. And this is why I don't take a submissive position to no higher being other than self. What's Islam? Mathematics. But Islam is I, self, law, and master, or I, self, Lord, and master. What is the culture of the 5%? The culture of I, God. I am the supreme being. There is nothing else outside of that. And trust me, all through these 120 lessons will give you a grander understanding of everything I'm saying. And again, I'm giving you all the source. So don't take my word for it. Go to the source and you read the lessons for yourself, and you come to your own conclusion. And you tell me if it's not right and exact. So you already know who the fuck it is. I'm on asharenu. We out.